The story begins with our protagonist waking up as a prince who was an average person living his life as an engineer. Before meeting the end of his life, he was working and preparing the blueprint for his future projects, but he somehow finds himself in the body of a prince who is preparing for the execution of some sort. When the old man of his court approaches him to make a decision, the memory of the body's owner rushes through his mind, who is none other than the Kingdom of Greycastle's fourth prince, Ronald Wimbledon, who was placed under a territory chosen by his father to decide who will become his competent successor in the end between all of his children in the time span of 5 years. All of the royal siblings have different types of abilities according to their statuses and skills, and among them, Ronald was placed in the worst place possible since he loved courting death. When the old man starts insisting that he should be making a decision once again, our protagonist Ronald is planning to execute one of the witches on the court, which gets him quite spooked as he doesn't expect to hear it at all. The witches are considered an incarnation of the demonic beings in this world, as the civilians are trying their best to eradicate all of the witches from their core. Our protagonist realizes that since this is a place where civilization still didn't reach, which is the only reason why people might have so biased thoughts about the witches, as it sounds quite stupid to him. He couldn't stand that people were placing the happiness of calamities and misfortunes all into a pitiful person such as a helpless, which angered him so much that he instantly orders his men to release the witch. The old man who followed his order as his assistant couldn't help but wonder what he was trying to do, and he wasn't the only one. All of the civilians who were surrounding the place started to worry about the well-being of their prince, who then claimed that he was tired, and he wants to finalize the ruling another day. When he is about to return back, his chief knight Carter Lonnie states that it isn't a matter of joke, and since a witch's identity is revealed, they must be executed, or the others will be coming to release her. Ronald couldn't help but wonder why someone so strong as him would be worrying about some kind of jailbreak, so he decides to cool down the matter by stating that when the others come, he will be executing them all at once, which is a far better idea. After returning back to the palace, Ronald couldn't help but freak out alone on his own, since someone like him hadn't talked to that many people in a single day, except for the Chinese New Year occasions. Also, he thinks that he might have died due to overworking and then transmigrated to this new place, but since he was given an additional life to live, he doesn't have anything to complain about. He accepts his new identity and is determined to find more information about the witch he was about to execute that day. He makes his way into the border town prison where the witch is currently being held up, but all of his men are advising him not to make a risky path, as anything can happen when the witches decide to attack. Carter tries his best to explain the situation by stating that the witches are nothing less than demons, but he decides not to listen, underestimating the true powers of a witch for some reason as he finally makes his way in front of the prison cell. Ronald decides to have a close look at the witch when she decides to stand up on her own feet, but the instant he decides to get close to the cell, Carter pushes him away to barricade his master from the witch for some reason. Ronald insists that there isn't a need to be nervous, and he goes on asking about the witch's identity while his knight keeps on insisting that he shouldn't be communicating with her. Even though he was trying his best to ask the witch about her situation, she only looked shocked and decided not to talk about it at first, but she ended up explaining her situation in the end. It seems that her father works at the mine, and when the mine collapsed, he was trapped under broken rubble. That was the moment when one of the mine workers wanted to rob his valuables since he was in a vulnerable situation. When the fight broke out between the both of them, her father went down and the man named Ansgar was about to finish him off, and the power inside the girl worked up so badly that the man turned into a crisp. The people were out of their minds after seeing her powers, and the neighbors who had seen her in action reported her to the authorities, even though she saved their lives, and begged them not to rat out to the authorities. But that whole assumption was made by Ronald, and in reality, her father is the one who reported her to the authority. Now that she has confessed all her wrongdoings, the old man insists that the prince should be executing her. But instead of formulating her execution, Ronald insists that he should be checking out her ability as a witch. When Ronald makes his wish clear to the witch, she states that she cannot reveal her powers, as the people hanged the god's locket of retribution on her neck, while making it clear that his curiosity can kill him anytime. Instead of backing down on his plan, Ronald ends up tearing the locket on her neck and orders her to begin her performance, which unleashes the hellfire of the witch. He couldn't fathom the amount of power a witch could hold inside her, as he had never seen anything like that in his whole life. The firepower continued to melt through all the prison barricades. When the firepower increases, Carter moves away from the heat while protecting his master, while he continues to blabber about it like a dummy who is amazed by the fact that witches can hold this kind of ability. He realizes that the girl herself is fire, and she shouldn't be afraid of herself, and soon the fire extinguishes after a while. Ronald is happy that magic truly exists in the world he is in right now, and he thinks about the resources he can work with his knowledge. The girl states that since she has already fulfilled his curiosity, he is welcome to finish her off if he wants that to happen, but instead of listening to the others, Ronald ends up sparing his own coat to the helpless witch Anna to express undying gratitude that he has towards her as he decides to hire her. Ronald thinks of the second law of thermodynamics, and knowing that an unlimited source of power can be quite impressive for him, as he has theorized the invention of the perpetual motion machine. But the decision made by him worries his assistant, the old man, who then states that she can make all of them suffer a calamity as easily as blowing off dust, and his actions will be announcing that he is truly going against the Holy Church and the Witch Cooperation Association at the same time. But without listening to the old man, Ronald instructs him to bring out a copy of the employment contract, as he wants to establish an employment relationship with Anna and also wants to arrange her residence. While doing all these in the shadows, Ronald has announced that he has already taken care of the witch, but the old man thinks that he is causing too much trouble already. Ronald advises him not to doubt his decisions, as the witches are not any evil beings from his perspective, and questions him about the karma of the border town, to which the old man negatively answers, which is quite the truth. Ronald then introduces the second brother's fortune and the third sister's military strength to make him realize that there is no way to win over them that easily, as the chances are practically zero. So now Ronald can only change to another kind of method, which introduces the witches in his plan, as he asks the old man to bring Anna to his chamber. On the other hand, Anna is enjoying the best day of her life, having the facilities given by Ronald, and the maids are helping her dress before she makes her entrance. A wooden shack was built for Anna at the last minute to practice at, which seems quite decent to Ronald, and when both of them were busy checking out the house, Anna made her entrance. But she doesn't even look like her previous self anymore, as the new change makes her quite mystical, making Ronald feel like he has made the correct decision with the outfit. Ronald asks Anna about the outfit she is wearing, and if it fits her well or not, but instead of answering the question he asks, she continues to ask him about the reason why he recruited someone like her, which is quite an obvious question for her to ask. Since Anna is a witch who has been corrupted and has evil blood flowing within her body, she asks him why he isn't afraid of her when she remembers her father ratting her out in public. Ronald insists that he isn't afraid, as he believes that the power of the witches originates not from the demons, but they are the prejudice of humans. The main reason why people fear is that they simply do not understand the meaning behind this kind of power, and moreover, they do not understand the person behind the powers. He states that he doesn't believe in the power of demons, as he knows that it only belongs to the user, which is Anna. Ronald moves his hand forward to her to hold on, as he promises to assist her by helping her to control and use the power, and they begin practicing inside the house he newly built for her. He guessed beforehand that practicing controlling firepower might not be easy, and Anna kept on burning all her clothing again and again, while our guy felt like choosing the maid outfit for her was a good decision from his side. When the day continues, the old man Barov Mons comes forward to report something important to the prince while barely holding his breath. He elaborates that the patrolling squad reported that they have discovered traces of demonic beasts, which indicates that the months of demons will be coming away early this year, which worries all of them, as Ronald keeps on looking straight at him flabbergasted. The months of the demon come off as a piece of astonishing news to Ronald, as he has never heard of something like that, so his assistant decides to elaborate on the theory. Every year when the snow falls in the beginning, the sun faints and dims, which will open the gates of hell within the mountain. And since the border town doesn't have any guarding capabilities, the civilians will have to migrate to the Longsong stronghold until the gate gets closed again. Also, when Ronald asks more about it, the old man states that a normal person cannot see that which leaves alone. The fact that the mountain is totally impossible for anyone to cross over, as people can get affected by the evil miasma unless the one crossing over is a witch. The witches can witness the gates opening, and the old man hasn't seen a demonic beast, either, as he is also a newcomer to the border town just like Ronald himself. It is said that within the center castle of the Kingdom of Grey Castle, only a few people have encountered demonic beasts, and all the troubles unfolding around the whole town make Ronald imagine how to develop this place, as it looks like a hopeless pit. But he soon realizes that as the stronghold is able to hold up and defend against the demonic beasts, which would mean that they aren't invincible, so he wonders why they cannot defeat them in Border Town. The old man states that the stronghold has a huge wall, and Duke Ryan's elite troops are the ones protecting the stronghold, which is why the beasts are only defeated there. The prediction takes Ronald to realize that the border town is built between the North Slope Mountain and Kishui River, so the whole town can act as cannon fodder in the middle. Ronald orders his assistant to bring his people to find the local guards and hunters, since they are the greatest preference against the beasts, as they have lived here more than 5 years. While his assistant is following his orders, Anna and Ronald are having lunch together while they talk about the months of the demon. According to Anna, the months of the demon are a nightmare for them as they have to experience it every year while fearing that they will be dying anytime soon. As her father lived a hardcore life as a miner, his group would have to transport the year's harvest of Border Town to the stronghold in exchange for food for the next year, and some gold royals as they will continue to stay at the stronghold's temporary settlement until the whole winter is over. Once a month, as the month continues for over 4 months, the stronghold announced that the ores they produced that winter are only enough for them to provide 3 months' worth of food, while they were unable to leave as the month was still running. The weak people were bullied in the stronghold as the necessities were barely distributed, and some of them even died while surviving through the months. While talking about her father, Ronald couldn't continue speaking his sentence, but Anna claimed that he was kind to her at that time. After hearing everything out of Anna's mouth, Ronald promises her that the incident will never be repeated again, as he will be the one guaranteeing it. He calls in for his assistant Barov Mons to get updates about the matters he was looking into, and they find Grey Dog and Brian, who are the border town's patrol squad captains. Also among them, there is a hunter who said that he has fought against a demonic beast before and had cut off one's head. When Ronald asks if the beasts are killable, the captains say that they are killable as they are originally ordinary animals from the forest, since they have been affected by the evil miasma and become ferocious. While they were discussing, the hunter with the blue hair seemed to be in great spirits as he announced his presence on his own enthusiastically.